Hey, welcome to the sit down. I'm your man, God Love, and sitting next to me is the Sister Gwen. How you doing this evening?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, and straight from Beverly Hills, we got Hillbilly Doc. We got Hillbilly Doctor Light. Hey, hey, Doc, how you doing this
Beverly
evening?
Hills.
Hey, Jethro, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, hey, y'all gonna stop trying to roast me on this show
I'm
now.
not, I'm not gonna roast you. I'm not gonna roast you, Honey Bear. I'm not gonna roast you. Hey, for those of you who are tuning in, welcome to the sit down. And the sit down is a place that you can come sit down, have a conversation, learn about what's taking place in your community. And what we love to do, we love to provide, whether it's a business opportunity, we've had solar panel, Trinity Solar on the air, and basically they talked about how you can control your energy costs. Who else? What other business that we had on it? I mean, we're
Oh,
bringing.
we had so many. We've had tax experts and um grant grant people we've had on there.
We've had
Yeah,
some
we've
legal
had
minds
grant people
as
on. Yeah,
well, but we also bring in community-based organizations so
Yes.
right.
that they will tell you what they're doing in the community. Most times than not, those services are free because that's what they do. That's what they intend, giving back. But again, a lot of those organizations are receiving funding from our state, local government, or philanthropic organizations, or just simply put, faith-based organizations giving back to their own communities.
Yep. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so y'all like and share. Let your friends know if they got a nonprofit or a community inspired program. We'd love to have them on and talk about what it is they do in the community and what we can do to help them. And it's just a networking thing about this show. And I'm finding out this show is the sit down is very unique because in most communities there's not a platform for entities to get up and say, here's who we are and here's what we do.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right. And we also do some things, and we're not the experts at it. And I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out. One of the experts in this area, Dr. Jeremy Levitt, when you talk about de-escalation techniques and issues. But I'm gonna de-escalate right now because I think Dr. Light has a hat endorsement that he's not sharing with the
I
network
think
with Let's
so.
Talk Nation.
I think so.
So we'll talk about that at another time because boy, you show sporting that I don't know, Huggy Bear, Beverly Hills, or just laid back hat. I
See,
like
see, see that, see that. That's why I keep stuff to myself, right there. See,
and
you're trying to roast me about my hats, but
No, looks
that,
good.
that hat with a pair of jeans,
Yes.
man, what you say?
I got a pair of nice overalls that go with it.
You
See?
really going country.
Tell you what, but see, I got a big head, so that I know that hat won't fit.
And and the jean shoes. So
Oh, the jean shoes.
yeah.
Hey, well, tell you what, we're not gonna let Doc steal the show tonight by his styling and profiling. We're not gonna let him do that.
Hey, Quee, I could dress a little bit, not like that Joker right there, boy.
Hey, well, let me let the audience know this. One of the things that we have been doing is we've been going through a process. We talk about mentors. We talk about all the organizations that are attempting to recruit mentors and things of that nature. Well, because of technology and the advent of virtual, we put together some of the things that we thought would be beneficial to not only parents, but any young person that's looking at this, that sometimes if you got to get mentored, sometimes you got to get mentored from afar.
Yes. Yes.
And so, and I'm not going to go back through all these dates. Sister Wynn does a good job of keeping up with what we've done, but we've had discussion and conversation about educational inequality and what people can do, not just young kids, but adults, if you want to navigate that process.
Yes.
We've had a conversation about violence and crime, and we're having that conversation more often
Every
than
day.
not.
Yes. Yes.
And y'all, and for the audience watching, we want to get feedback from you. You watching? Give us a comment. Share the page and get other people to help to build our community. That's what it's all about.
You're right.
Bringing
You're right.
awareness.
One area that we kind of got log jammed on when we talked about health disparities. We got into this back and forth with somebody whom I won't name about whether the health disparities is a choice or if
That's not what was said.
okay. Can you remind me? They say
We talk specific. Hey, this hit dog gonna defend his dog on self. So you keep trying. Hey, you don't expect the dog to holler when you keep trying to run over?
If the dog get out of the way of the car,
we talked about one instance in particular regarding healthcare, and that was diabetes.
Yes.
And I'd said, and there's empirical data to support this. The majority of people dealing with type 2 diabetes in this country is because of behavior, not a medical reason. They are over eating carbohydrates, putting stress and things on their pancreas, which creates insulin. And it can only work so hard and so much. If they change their behavior and what they're doing, if you work out more, you're more active, you eat less, and you eat healthier diet, your diabetes will go into remission. Basically, it's not there. It's not going to have the same thing. See, what I found out is that diabetes is, think about like an acid, okay, in your blood system. That's how diabetes operates. So that's where you get neuropathy and all of these other things. They lose their toes, go blind because those vessels, those blood vessels, are being burned, literally burned over a period of time. And that area, the farther away an extremity is, the harder it is to circulate blood down there. So you get the toes to die, and you get the legs to die, because those veins that are leading there, those veins and arteries, are burned up literally, like acid had eaten them. So it's not efficient. So if we change our diet and we exercise, we can reduce the impact to literally zero. It's just a change of behavior.
Wow.
Now ask me how I know.
How you know?
Because I did it.
Okay.
Now, how long did it take you to? I know your eating habits just didn't change overnight. So
let me tell you, 10 years ago, 10 years ago. No, it was longer than that. This happened when I was 50. I went to my doctor. I was 298 pounds. Y'all remember that picture I showed y'all?
I remember you
I
showed
remember
it.
that. Yes.
Okay, I was 298 pounds. My blood sugar level was well over 300. I had sleep apnea, severely overweight, bones hurting, depression, all kind of things dealing with. And my doctor told me at that time, if you don't change your lifestyle, you'll be dead by the time you're 55. There's no way you should even be walking.
So what did you do, Doc?
The first thing I did was work with my doctor to develop a plan to reduce my size. Okay. I was on insulin. He had put me on the shots. So I had to take that. And I got into the program to have bariatric surgery. Okay, my insurance, they paid for everything. And I began to work out. Do you know you can get weight loss surgery, but you can only get it if you down to a certain amount? You have to lose that weight before they do the surgery.
Oh.
Okay, so and then I had to go to counseling classes. I had to go to nutrition classes. I met with a nutritionist who developed a plan for me, an eating plan, and all of that. And when I went through it, and it's a long process, it was about It was about a 14-month process.
So Doc, let me ask you this question: Was what was the most critical thing for you when you were going through this process? Was it more or less getting your mindset to where it needed to be to condition your mind to so that
The
you can
the hard
exercise?
the
So you can
hardest
do
thing for
right?
me was the psychology of eating different.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened with me was I was at that time I was working for a medical DME company, and I had a territory from Tallahassee to Jacksonville down to where the Bach Tower is. I forgot the name of that town down there. But I was always on the road. I was always going. So guess what? I was eating fast food here, fast food there, not eating on a consistent basis. Okay, being out late at night sometimes because if I'm in St. Pete at 8 p.m., that's like two hours back to Orlando. So I'm out there, and then I'm not gonna come right in the house and get in the bed.
Right.
I got to take a shower and all of this stuff. I got to wind down. So it was that chaotic thing that was contributing. I was not controlling my lifestyle.
So,
Okay.
so that's from an adult perspective, but just also think about juvenile diabetes
Yes.
Now
and young people.
that's different because that's type 1. When you have diabetes from childhood, that's a different type of diabetes. You don't make any insulin at all, and that is uncontrollable. You can't. There's nothing you can do about that.
So, Doc. I mean, because I'm not an expert on it,
Yeah.
and you've gone through it, so you're more knowledgeable than myself. I don't know about Miss Wynn, but talk about young people that are experiencing a level of obesity that can contribute to diabetes.
Right.
Right. The biggest thing is in American culture, there's a lot of food. We consume food for occasions. You know what I'm saying? And we consume the wrong kind of foods for occasions. We have a very heavy carb based diet here in the South. Everybody, you know, and specifically with children, if a child weighs 200 pounds at 10, what do you think is going to happen to them as young adults if they don't change?
And I don't want to. Well, I do want to take us off script, but I want to stay on this for a minute because it's lead me to something else that we have danced around before, and that is, that issue about body shaming and things of that nature. I understand that, I get it, but then when we sit back and we applaud, I can't remember, is it Izzy? Is that the name of the rapper?
The young lady
Yeah.
is Izzo?
Izzo, yeah,
Something like that.
and I think she's very talented. I'm gonna say that first and foremost.
Yes.
But I also think she's going through some weight loss experience. But one of the things that I think that we shouldn't try to body shame anybody, but we shouldn't also contribute to let particularly young people know that getting yourself physically to a point that surpasses obesity has some health crisis that takes place.
Now I look at it this way. Okay, we come up with these terms body shaming. Okay, and what we're saying is I should not point out that you are obese. That's what we're saying. Nobody should say that you're fat. See, and psychologically, we say that because people don't want to deal with the fact that they're fat.
But Doc, I mean,
But-
come on, let's have this conversation because I know where you're going and I understand where you're going, but it comes back down to it. Our parents have told us this, each and every one of us. Oftentimes, it's not what you say,
It is
how you say it. And so, to Doc's point, yeah, you can articulate to a person.
If,
Um,
let me ask you this. Let me say this. If she was as confident in her size and her look, then why did she diet?
well, I think Doc, she's in the industry. She's in the entertainment industry.
And she knows that she's obese.
Not only do I think she knows that, doc, I mean, she can look in the mirror and see that.
She knows she lives in her body.
Yeah, but I also believe her doctors, her physicians have told her, hey, look, if you don't, you're this young, if you don't get this under control.
Neither one of you have been obese, have you?
Well,
Obesity is the biggest lie you tell yourself. I'm telling you, because I went through it.
well, I don't.
You find yourself making excuses and justifying your behavior. You sit down and you eat 15 chicken wings, okay, and wash it down with a big gulp and some fries. Oh boy, I got a big appetite. You say all of those things, but you're literally eating yourself to death. Nobody needs to eat 15 chicken wings. And so it's behavior based. You got to change your behavior. Huh?
He's hopping around because we were talking about it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
No, but I'm saying it goes back to dealing with the
I
reality.
know because that is going on. I don't know if I would call myself obese, but I was almost up to like 250, and for me that was big. So I knew in myself when I look in the mirror, I didn't like what I was seeing.
And that plus health.
Yes, with high blood pressure, that didn't make it any better either.
And
Okay, and that's another thing that's often associated with being overweight: high blood pressure.
It is.
Okay, it's listen. I'm not demonizing people, but we've got to quit putting a dress on a pig and calling it Cinderella. It's a pig. It just got a dress on it.
They talking about putting lipstick on pigs.
We gonna put we put dresses on pigs doing that. See, we're not dealing with things in real time. This is the problem in this country. It's become epidemic where people are not willing to deal with reality. Everybody's got an excuse about their situation.
All in the delivery. In the delivery, dog. I mean, we can always agree to disagree, but it's all in the delivery. Like, I don't like the way my wife tells me sometimes when I put on certain suits, she be like, you're going to either need to take that suit and get it altered so that button don't burst, or you need to get that suit to somebody else.
So why don't you like it? Why does it bother you?
There we go.
Why does it?
Why don't I like it?
Why does you say I don't like it when my wife tells me this? So what about her telling you the truth?
I say it's how she may tell me, and and it's a little pun in there when she say, "Hey, look, you need to go to the alteration shop so they can move that button back some, or you need to get that suit away."
So you saying the delivery makes it more true or less true?
Well, I'm gonna say the delivery could have me jumping on my back a little bit more. The delivery could actually have me looking at with this suit tightening up. The suit didn't shrink, so something else had to happen. See, the delivery can be nice, or it could be like Doc is delivering right now, to where.
But it's so true because if you're delivering to a person may come across very cruel, where you say you fat. I mean, I know it. I look at it, but I don't need you to tell me that. And then it's going to be that goes back to that body shaming.
Yeah.
But I'm curious as to understand that. We've gotten off topic. We was talking about diabetes and
well, we
health
wouldn't even
stuff.
That's not even in our one sheet. You took us
Okay.
there.
Okay. So let's go back because we had 20 minutes into the show. So
I'll tell you what, y'all. Let's take a quick commercial, man, and then we'll come back to this topic. Hey, you're watching the Sit Down.
Black men, like everyone, share the same humanity and aspirations. Their quest for the American dream reflects a desire for opportunities to excel for themselves and their families. Each story of ambition and perseverance highlights the universal pursuit of hope and success.
We in a melting pot. We in America. And we all want the same thing for ourselves and our kids. And that's opportunity.
Access to opportunities, supportive networks, and resources for growth.
I would say to him, I've completed what you wanted to do. And I don't know why you asked me that, but anyway.
Mentorship programs, access to education and training, business networking events, advocacy for equity and community engagement.
Hey, for those of you who don't know, October the 11th, the Florida Economic Consortium will be hosting the Black Man documentary that was done in Michigan. It was done by producer John Covington.
Muskogee, right?
Say that again?
It's Muskogee?
Muskogee, yeah,
yes.
you're right.
Muskogee.
And it's real interesting how this came to be. Paul Billings, who many of you may be familiar with, Paul on The Wire, 98.5. Paul has been really instrumental in this community. He also owns a radio station in, what's that location again, Doc? Muskegon, Michigan. And he also owns a radio station in, I believe it's Grand Rapids, Michigan. Paul, every year for the past 4 or 5 years, takes kids from the Central Florida community to Africa.
Yes.
This guy is just incredible with what he does, but Paul also brings the Heart and Soul Music Festival to the city of Apopka, the beautiful amphitheater. And I got to apologize. I don't know artists that are here, but I do know Zap is coming, Confunction will be here,
Mickey
Howard. But I say all that to say, Paul introduced me to the producer of the Black Man documentary a year ago.
Oh, wow.
We had a conversation and I said, man, and it's not a movie, and Doc will love this. It's not a movie or a documentary about the grievances that Black folk have with America. It's not a movie like that.
Okay.
This is a documentary of the life experience of just Black people.
What we go through every day.
What we go through. And some of those things, and I don't want to, I've not seen the documentary, I've seen the trailer. Doc was playing some of those. And by the way, hats off to Doc because the promotions for this documentary, for any of you that need to utilize Dr. White's skills, Doc can tell you how to get a hold of them. But this is so incredible. You see this one guy, he's in the documentary, he's talking about one of his friends was saying, hey man, is that your dad? If you look at this guy was like 20-something years old, and this guy looks back at him and says, he laughs and says, no, I told him, that's not my granddad, that's my dad. I mean, some of those things that, when I hear Doc talk about his upbringing and growing up, it reminded me of some of the conversations that Doc and I had. There's a piece that this guy notices one of the older guys that he grew up with in the community, and then out of the blue one day, one of them told him as he had grown up, that guy's your dad.
Wow.
You know, so for those of you, I got to see that we are sold out capacity. This will be taking place at the Orlando Museum of Art. October the 11th from 5 to 8. We'll have the reception, and I believe the reception starts at 5 o'clock. 5:40, we will be assembling everybody in the theater, making some introductions. 6 o'clock, the movie will start. Immediately after the hour and 10 minutes of the documentary, we'll have Dr. Randy Nelson with us. He'll be on the panel discussing, because what I've heard when this documentary was showed in California, when it was showed in Michigan, after it's shown, the audience needs therapy.
Yes.
Audience needs therapy.
I'm excited.
You know, and it's needed because it's so often that Black men are not looked at for their humanity.
Yes.
You're
We are
right.
often
Right.
seen by others, including black women, as maybe lacking the empathy or the attributes of our humanity. You know, we are told not to cry.
Oh, yes.
We're told we're angry, and you know, and we're not reliable, and all of these things that comes and is attached to black maleness tends to be negative. But you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of positive things that black men do. Black men are actually the one group in America that's the most active fathers with their children. Okay,
But you
we
don't see
lead
it.
that.
You're right. You're right.
Really don't.
But is it that we don't see it because either the media or we're not doing a good job of displaying all the good? Of course, you know, negative is what's unfortunate.
It is. It is. It is. I don't
Yeah,
know if I would say the media has a lot to do with it. I just think sometimes we just don't see it when we're out and about.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, you're right.
well,
You
Yeah.
know?
it's because oftentimes it's like this. Like you wouldn't know that there's a lot of successful, well-off people in black people in Orlando, right? You wouldn't know it, but there are. There's tons of them,
You're right. You're right.
and the reason you don't see them because they're busy being successful. They're not out there showboating and in the front, but they are there.
Correct.
Because you don't see them doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and
But
we have
it's
to
not even
understand.
so about the business ones. It's just sometimes your average dad. You don't have to make a half meal or
Listen,
you
You're
know
right. You're right.
be in that. Just a
You can
regular
work.
Joe
Yeah,
Blow.
you can work in public
it's
work.
some great dads out there, and I'm not talking about classism because I want to say this: it's dads out there that cut hair, that have their own lawn service,
You're right.
that's plumbers, that are wonderful people. They provide for their families. They just low key. They focusing on their family. They're not out there parading. And we tend to focus on the bad because we can see them performing.
Yeah.
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 And so we allude that to because those are the black men that we see, we tend to think that, you know, as they are, so are others. And that's simply not the truth. You know,
So Doc, to your point, and I said this to you too, Sister Lynn. How do we do a better job of getting the word out that here's the light that black men have been painted in, and I will say, we see all the negative stuff, but how do we paint that light in a positive way? How do we do a better job of doing that? That's what I think is incumbent upon us.
you know,
I
one
think watching this like I said, I can't wait to see this documentary because I think after seeing that, if we have some young men in there, just to hear what the black men have gone through and how to overcome it, and then we need to have a panel ourselves
Mm-hmm.
of some dads and just your average men to come
But
in.
let's talk about the fact that the Florida Economic Consortium has a responsible fatherhood initiative.
Oh yes,
And
yes,
for those fathers who want to be engaged or involved in some of in the children's lives, some of the eligibility is if you're on child support, you're eligible. If you're a non-custodial father, you're eligible. But if you're just regular Joe, that's a father that you want to be involved in the Responsible Fatherhood Initiative, you're also welcome.
yes.
You can go to fecfatherhood.org, and I believe there's a registration link
right.
there that you
Yeah.
can.
There's a
you
contact
can,
form. They can get in contact with FEC Fatherhood
Or just
.org.
spend more time with
Yeah.
with your kids.
Oh, and we have an expert in Walter Smith who is going to be running our support groups, virtual once a month support groups. But Walter, and I don't think he has a problem with me, mentioning because he mentioned in our public setting that he's been through this process of custodial or getting custody or joint custody and things of that nature. Walter understands this stuff like nobody's
Oh, yeah.
business. And so he will be made available. But one of the things, Doc, that I think I need to say, because we need to run another promo, but before you run it, I want to go ahead and read this piece. The men portrayed in the promotional video for the Black Man documentary are not featured in the film itself. Just think about that. They're not featured in the film itself. We're talking about, you see individuals such as Mayor Demings, you see successful attorney Greg Francis, you see successful attorney Gregory Jackson. You see a number of folks. You see Tony Jenkins with Florida Blue. And so to go on, but rather serve as powerful symbols of hope and resiliency for local men and boys in our community. They represent the strength and perseverance and values that are inspirational. And here's the part I love, that are inspirational, being a pulling force, and motivational, being a pushing force for many of us as we look at the stories of success, struggle, and growth that resonates deeply within our greater Central Florida community. These images are a reminder that within our community, there are countless examples, and we're going to take it a step further, countless examples of white, Black, Hispanic, and all men who rise above adversity and stand as beacons of what can be dreamed and achieved with determination. And so I had to read that before Doc played this next promotional segment.
Okay.
Black men, like everyone, share the same humanity and aspiration. Black Man is a documentary that goes beyond pain and historical grievances to explore the daily lives of Black men. It captures their moments of joy.
Hold on. Which one did I play first?
Just play humanity, Doc. Just play
Okay, humanity.
Black Man is a documentary that goes beyond pain and historical grievances to explore the daily lives of Black men. It captures their moments of joy, struggle, pride, and vulnerability, revealing the common humanity that connects us all. Through the stories of fathers, sons, and friends navigating complex social landscapes,
somehow happened along the way is educationally, I'm somewhat well-spoken. And growing up and being in the Black community, that was not always accepted. And it was, you're trying to be something else. Well, this is who
the
I
film
am.
shows that Black men's journeys are defined not just by history's burdens, but by shared experiences and emotions. Highlighting their strength and resilience, Black Man encourages empathy and understanding by focusing on the universal aspects of human life, such as love, ambition, and perseverance.
Hey, just a snapshot. I mean, I don't know if those of you who saw that promotion just a few minutes ago, but when we talk about inspirational leaders, just based on their perseverance, their success, just in that clip, I was looking at, I saw Ben Crump, Mayor Demings, Dr. Randy Nelson, Harold Mills, who's been so philanthropic to this community that it's incredible based on this guy's success. I mean, you look at individuals, you got Bishop, Pastor Beecham, Chief of Orlando Police, Eric Smith, but these are examples of individuals in this community that are putting not only their best foot forward, they've had to earn where they're at, but they should be a beacon of hope for a lot of boys, but not just boys, men that's out there that are looking at how do they continue to navigate life, but for those same men that think about giving up, you need to look at those same individuals. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at Harold Mills' story of how he navigated the development of his company. You look at Mayor Demings, the first Black police chief.
Along with his wife.
Went on to become the first African-American mayor of Orange County. This guy was the public safety. I mean, just success upon success. Dr. Randy Nelson. I could go on and on. But Doc, Sister Wayne, this is what we're talking about. October the 11th. the Black Man documentary, it is not exclusionary. We want to welcome everybody to this.
Right.
But get involved.
Yeah, and one of the things it helps to dispel the myth of the perfect mentor, the perfect leader. We've got to stop putting that out there.
You're right.
It's just no such thing. All of us have different things that we've overcome. It's things that I've done in my life that I'm not proud of. However, it does not make me unable to be a mentor to people because I understand that. So we can't.
But Doc, to that point, and Sister Wynn, you know this too. People see when we cross that threshold of being successful or reaching a certain accomplishment, but they don't see all the failures.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't see that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm saying that because you got a lot of great men on the promos, okay? And I've heard people who need to listen to these guys actually oh well, you know, XYZ about this person. They're looking for them to be perfect because they're in the spotlight. They're not.
They're not. You're right.
They don't have to be perfect. They have to be sincere and committed to helping you.
Right.
So don't look at these people as being perfect. They're not saying that because Lord knows none of us are perfect.
Doc,
But we're sincere.
Take that poster down off your computer because that was too perfect the way you said that.
Yeah. And so, you know, this is the thing about I know this because of my generation. You get what I'm saying? Because this was the kind of the habit for my generation. It's changing now, but we had this excuse. Well, I'm not going to follow him because he did XYZ. You know, but so much more of his life was a success. Right. Why would I not glean from his successes and his failures as well? Because even in failing, there's lessons. Mm-hmm. Avoid it.
Yeah.
Avoid what I did.
Behind growing up.
You're right.
But you don't let what you did in the past define who you are.
Yeah.
You make those changes.
You make those changes, but the other part of it is, and I can't emphasize this enough, you have folk that look and they have that goal. But because there's obstacles in their life, you sit back and say, you know, okay, obstacle number 1. Okay, I'm gonna try to surpass that. Obstacle number 2. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing it, but I'm scratching my head now. Obstacle number 3. All right, now I'm ready to quit. You can't. You gotta continue to do it because, and I'm gonna just say this, man, I failed 100 times before I got that win. But everybody look at that win, but they don't see all those scars.
Let me tell you this. Somebody said this to me. Failure will teach you more than success ever will.
You're right.
I believe
and that's so true.
Doc, say that quote again, man, because I think people need to hear it.
Failure will teach you more than success ever will. Because in that failure, you have to reevaluate, redetermine, refocus, look at different resources. Okay. Whenever I was in the military, the thing that they taught us, we had to have 3 plans for every battle action. Okay. What's going to go right, what's going to go wrong, and what's going to go past the expectation of what we had. And you have to be prepared in some way to pivot to whatever situation you find yourself in. You can make a plan all you want to, but things may not be there. When you get there to execute, now the circumstances have changed. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you don't have the resources you need at that time to do everything. But the thing is, a lot of people just don't start.
But Doc, you said it, a lot of people don't start, but you said it best. And Sister Wynn does it often. You got to know how to pivot.
Right.
You know, the numbers look right in an Excel spreadsheet that if I serve this many, here's the rate and here's the bottom line. But guess what? What happens if you don't serve that number and you still got the same operating costs? You got to figure out how to pivot.
And ain't but one way to fail. Ain't but one way
Tell
to
me that, because
fail.
I've experienced a whole bunch of ways.
Stop trying.
Oh yeah. Okay. See.
Stop trying.
Yeah. See. Doc, all right. You got me, Doc.
You know this is what I do, so
You got me.
you know,
That's the absolute way
and
to fail. To
But
I
give
used
up.
to I used to see my. Go ahead.
we're sitting here saying, how do you explain that or discuss that with a young man in middle school or high school? Because they look at failure, if I failed, that's it for me.
But I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because here's one. I mean, I thought you was gonna go somewhere else with that, and I'm really interested in hearing both of y'all perspectives. I'm gonna tell you this: a young person in middle school that you're trying to explain something like that to. Number one, you do start young. That's number one. And then when you talk about a young person in middle school, you thinking to yourself, what do they have so much on their plate that they're looking this far? Well, going to the next grade. If you ask my daughters, going to the next grade and not just making it there to the extent that the stars are going off when you make it there. But here's how you do that. My daughters and my daughters saw their parents. They saw their parents getting up every day, going to a job, but not just, they didn't have this illusion of a job. We had our kids engaged in what we were doing professionally, what we were doing in the community. My kids, and my father-in-law, who's a preacher, my kids got to see it all. So when it comes to, and then they heard from us often, if they got a B and they wanted an A, we tell them, then you got to do something to earn that doggone A.
What you gonna do different?
What you got to do different. So it's what they see and what you say. That's my opinion. So what you think?
Now, I mean, I understand that, but then you have to think too that some of the young men don't see or have that person to show them.
So how do we? And this is that teachable moment.
Yes.
What that teachable moment is, and we've had this conversation before. We talk about fatherhood initiatives that FEC is doing, but here's something that one of my good friends told me. Yeah, it's great if biological fathers stepped in and did what they were really obligated to do, but the other side of it too, that is in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world. If you don't have that biological, hey, a father figure is just as good.
They simply need someone that helps them to develop a different mindset. See, a lot of things that these kids equip themselves for with life comes from their environment. If the environment does not teach us critical thinking or alternate problem solving, they won't develop that until they come in contact with somebody that they can see doing that. And then they have to want that. Okay? When I was a kid, I talked to older people more than I talked to my peers. I really did, because I was always fascinated by hearing those stories, those life experience, and I saw lessons in them. So many of the things that my peers went on to experience in life, I avoided. Why? Because I knew that based on the conversations I had, that particular choice wasn't a good choice, and eventually it was going to be problematic.
Right.
And so I learned to step back and evaluate stuff. Don't put myself in situations that I can't control.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one. Don't put my trust in people I don't know. Always expect that it's not going to go exactly how you come to me with a problem or an idea. I'm going to think about, okay, that's good, but have you considered the alternative? What happens if it don't go that way?
And this conversation that we're having, I would be remiss if I didn't give these shout outs. And I know both of y'all know some that I'm going to miss. But what we're talking about here now is no different than what some of these organizations and communities are doing, and they're doing a great job.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about I Hope Mentoring over in Orlando, Mercy Drive. I'm talking about King Solomon Foundation. I'm talking about Lane's Girls in Orlando in Apopka. I know I'm missing a lot of Boys to Men with Pastor Daniel Eames. The Butterfly Effect. I mean, there's a lot of programs that are out there doing some great work. The biggest piece, I think, of what we need to do is figure out how do we uniformly measure?
Yes.
How do we measure it, and how do we do something so that the community sees more than just what you catch on the news channel when somebody's doing something wrong?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you get, I guess they're saying, are we playing for kicks or what? I mean, I know I don't play for the University of Colorado, and they pulled one off, by the way, this weekend.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and I'm here to say, I've been a Sanders family fan because I love the way they inspire folk. But I will say that Shador didn't win that football game for Colorado, and he needs not talk about his teammates ever again. It's a team effort. But I'm inspired with that Sanders family because they're inspirational. But from that vantage point, and I'm watching the clock because our executive producer doesn't.
I am watching it.
I'm gonna pivot to Doc. Doc, what's some of your thoughts in our closing minute, man?
We've got to continue picking up this phenomena of growing people in the community, keep championing it,
You're right.
and understand it didn't get broke overnight, and we're not gonna fix it overnight. But we got to be committed to the long term process of rebuilding the culture of the Black community and family.
You're right, and there's nothing wrong with that. Doc, I love the way you talk about growing leadership, growing the community. Ms.
Yeah.
Williams.
I almost just pivot off of what Dr. Light said. Have the community get more involved and also come to the table with some ideas, not just come to the table and talk. How are we going to implement this? What is this going to look like?
And you're absolutely correct. And guess what, y'all? We're gonna end on time tonight because the only thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna reinforce what Doc just said. We got to continue to grow our community. We got to highlight what's taking place, particularly in the Black community. And this is not shunning any other ethnicity, but these are some of the things that we have to do. And Ms. Wynn, to your point, we have to continue to magnify all the great things that are going on in communities. And to that end, I want to once again thank you for tuning in to the Sit Down. I want to thank Dr. Light. Go Beverly Hills. I want to thank Sister Wynn.
See, he just gotta roast me.
Hey, I love that hat. Those of you tuned into the Sit
I
Down,
do too. That's why I bought it. So
45.
and it's just and it ain't a fishing hat. I got some of them too. So
Let's see you next week.